Oh, Beth, that was so nice. So I'm very happy to be here. And yes, I know Beth, which is great. We've developed a relationship over the last couple of years due to a agent referral, which is something I'm going to talk a little bit about today. Drew, you and I sat on an aeroplane accidentally next to each other, didn't we? And I had the most amazing 2 or 3 hours coaching from Drew, and he became my favorite. I started listening into your Monday motivationals with Drew. And yeah, you have an incredible coaching program. You're very lucky at your market center, what you have with Drew and the success and everything that he shared with me. And Mary, thank you. I've never met you before. You have a wonderful personality, and I do want to know what warranty company you're with. So make sure you let me know that, because I also talk a little bit about warranty companies. So I will jump right in, and this is something that I'm used to doing in person. So you'll notice I use my hands a lot, and I like interaction, because obviously I'm usually standing in front of a room and I'm, moving around and asking for audience participation. So it's a little different to do it on a Zoom, but I have, put it together, and I'm going to share my PowerPoint, and then I'll go through it with you all. So bear with me as I screen share. And okay, so you are here today on this Zoom call because you want to know about leveraging your real estate business for streams of passive income. And I am Amanda Pohlman, and I am a mom of 4 boys and a grandmother to the apple of my eye, Liam, age 5. And I'm also a realtor who started in the business. 2005 is what my license says. And now I am a proud Keller Williams investor. I'm an investor in a market center. I am a rainmaker of a team of 7. So there's 7 of us. And I'm also, it says everything else about me. And I'm an absolute advocate for passive income. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the reason that I came to Keller Williams was because of profit share. Not afraid at all to share something that's working for me with everybody else. My background was in multi-level marketing. Being a mom of 4, I can't go out and get a real job because my babysitting cost me too much. So I did a lot of home-based businesses when I was a stay-home mom. And those were things like DK, which is Dorling Kindersley Family Learning, selling books and CD-ROMs. I did Homemade Gourmet, which is selling little packets of food. So you could say that sales was always in my blood, but the opportunity with Keller Williams was like no other, because I realized I can use my love of bringing people into something that I'm so passionate about with this company called Keller Williams. So I presume everybody on the call is a Keller Williams agent, right? Okay. So my goal today is to inspire you all using your real estate business to think of ways that you can create passive income. And I'll be honest with you, starting this talking in front of groups of people locally, and I've been outside of my market center, I've been to a couple of other ones in the area. We talk a lot about what it is that passive income can do for you, but using your real estate as the base of it is really, really important, because as realtors, there's so many opportunities that we have that are first looks. And I want to kind of open up the world with you on how being a realtor gives you those opportunities. They come your way. Keller Williams, obviously, profit share is the #1 reason that, here you go. Sorry, back again. So my goal is to inspire you all to seek out real estate and work on your own passive income. So I'm going to go through my slideshow rather than try and wing it. So I started in the business in 2005 with a brokerage that was more mom and pop, more that I had a manager in the office, and every time I had a problem, I ran to her and she picked up the phone and screamed at somebody. You know, locally it was quite a big brokerage, but I made the switch to Keller Williams because it was a business decision. You know, I've got 4 boys, single mom, and I was making a certain amount of money. My splits were probably not very good compared to the Keller Williams model. And my team leader at that time said to me, you know, you made 150,000 by selling X amount of dollars. And if you had been at Keller Williams, that amount would have been 269,000. So it was an easy switch for me on a business decision in that I wanted to make more money. Now, when we're talking about coming into Keller Williams, a lot of people that we talk to about the profit share model is talking about making more money. That's going to resonate with a lot of people because, you know, the value to them is if I'm going to go sell a house or I'm going to bring the Keller Williams opportunity, I want to make more money. But that's not necessarily what a lot of people lead with. So as we get into the profit share slide talking about why it's so important, you have to remember there's so many different reasons why people are attracted to Keller Williams. And it's not only leading with, you're going to make more money. I wrote here that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I'll be absolutely honest with you, there's nothing like Keller Williams for a roadmap to success. If you want to be successful in this business and you want to create a great big, huge life, there is so much opportunity around us, and people have done it before us, right? So many people have shown us the way. And, you know, whether we're looking at people on Zoom calls or we're going to in-person trainings or we're at family reunion, you know, when we meet fellow Keller Williams agents, we see that their lives are big and they're surrounding themselves with very high-thinking, high-minded people. So for me, it was like a kid in a candy store, because I'm going, oh, wow, there's all this opportunity and I want to seize it. I want to become a listing agent. I want to grow a team. I want to make the most out of passive income. And then these doors open for other things around us that you literally have to be ready to ask for them. You have to know that you want this great big life and that there are other things around you and the people around you that will show you the way or that have modeled you doing it before. And they're there to help with Keller Williams being the incredible company to do it all at. So when I started in real estate, I built a business it was a good business. I'll say when I came over in 2012, I was a $10 million producer, single agent. And when I came to Keller Williams, I really wanted to create a team. And I wanted that team to give me leverage so that I had more opportunities to do other things, to grow other people's worlds, to bring in other people, to teach them. I didn't want to be a buyer's agent, and I wanted to create a whole great group of buyer's agents and develop a really good team. And I wanted everybody in my world to have some of the opportunities that I saw coming my way. So the first thing the analogy that I always say is, if you've ever been to Gary Keller's Quantum Leap, he talks about the stool and he talks about the base of your business. And your real estate business is the base for all these passive income opportunities. Because when we talk about buy and holds, BRRRR methods, leveraging real estate, you have to have a good business in order to qualify, right? If you're one of those agents that says, I want to write off everything and not have any income at the end of the year to pay taxes on, then that business model isn't going to sustain utilizing it to create other streams of passive income. So the analogy is that the stool is your business, and the bigger and better and more secure your base of your stool is, the seat, then the legs of passive income can grow and they can support and prop up your base, your real estate career. So when we talk about things like buying properties, and Beth knows I'm an advocate for buying buy and holds. And I'll get into that as I go through the slide. But when you have a business that makes you a substantial amount of income, doesn't have to be, you know, a crazy amount, but you're running your business like a business and you're paying your taxes and doing your quarterlies, you will then have an amount that then when you go to a conventional mortgage, because Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac mortgages are very low right now. Great time to use them for investing in real estate. As long as you have your tax returns done and you're profitable, then there's a lot of opportunities to use that to leverage mortgage money so that you can go buy investment properties. So let me go this way. So I'm going to talk about 10 streams of passive income. And this came from a coach of mine. Diana Griffith was one of my coaches through MAPS. And at one point we talked about passive income, and she said to me, I'm at 20 and I want to go to 30. And I was like gobsmacked, like 20? So my goal became to have 10 streams of passive income. And I started this course probably about 4 years ago, where I would talk about one realtor's journey to 10 streams of passive income. And then when I got to the 10th, I realized it had to be bigger. So I renamed it. So, you know, these have all come my way in the last 8 years of being at Keller Williams. Like, I am not any one of the originals of Keller Williams. Here in Cleveland, Keller Williams started probably about 12, 13 years ago. So I'm not one of the ground level people that started this company here and bought the franchise. So if I can give you anything out of this, it's, you know, there's a lot of opportunity no matter when you come into Keller Williams. And as Gary Keller says, the top profit share owner probably hasn't even joined yet. So profit share is the one I'm going to talk about first. These are the 10 that I'm going to go over. And if anybody has questions or anybody wants to stop me, feel free to shout out, because you aren't all muted, are you? Well, you are, but you can unmute yourself and shout out, because I am used to a lot of interaction. Okay, so profit share. Today's the 21st, right? Who got profit share? Yep. When you open up your bank account, you love the 21st. Drew's going to show us his. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my profit share journey. So it started with my first check in 2012. So I came in January 2012, and my first check was in April, and it was $7.83. So it was enough for a nice latte, right? With some foam on top. Now, I'll be honest with you, I was not going to be shy about telling people about the Keller Williams profit share model. So that meant that in the first couple of years, I put on my front line, which is your first level, I put about 20 people. Now, it was easy because I came over with 5 of them. So that was kind of easy. In fact, it was funny because we were saying, who's going to go on top of who and who's going to do this? And we kind of had no concept really about how it works. So, you know, at the end of the day, we all, you know, put ourselves on top of each other. And the person that got me in their profit share line is like, woohoo, Amanda, because, you know, our profit share is pretty big now. And I'm going to tell you, the people on your front line, they're going to be your most profitable line. The first line and the 7th line are the ones that you get the most amount of profit share from. But let's talk about profit share, because profit share is a difficult conversation to start, right? It sometimes sounds a little bit dirty. It sounds like, I say MLM, multi-level marketing, and it's been in my past, so I say it very freely. But a lot of people think that pyramid thing, right? Do you get that? Where they're like, oh, I don't want to be a part of a pyramid. So let's talk about that, because a lot of agents think that the profit share that an agent gets comes from the agent you bring in. In other words, the agent you're bringing in is giving you some of their money. That's a myth, right? Because it's in no way the truth. And I think when you understand profit share and how to explain it, and sometimes it's not about doing the whole explanation. It's about what attracted you to Keller Williams and what was important to you. So like I said, for me, it was business, right? It was, I can make more money. I love the idea of profit share. But for other people, coming to Keller Williams is an entirely different story. And this is where I would say to you, you know, raise your hand. Why did you come to Keller Williams? And there'll be a lot of different stories. Not everybody was it just all about money, right? Not everyone feels like a business owner when they come to Keller Williams. They're not necessarily doing real estate as a business. So there are plenty of other things. Culture. I mean, we just had the most incredible, I don't know if you saw our video, but our Red Day was out of this world. And that means so much to so many of us because we have a huge culture in our office. Technology, training, coaching, all of the things that Keller Williams gives to us are reasons that people are going to start this conversation about you talking about why they should be at Keller Williams. And that, you know, removing the limiting belief to think that you can't make a good amount of profit share, that needs to go away, because I can tell you from my $7.83 check in 2012, in 2013, my profit share was over 4,000. In 2014, it doubled to over 8,000. And in 2015, it was over 18,000. So that was in almost 4 years. It was already over my cap, because my cap is 18,000 at our market center. So it's easy for me to say, you know, when people say, what's your split? What's Keller Williams' split? It's easy for me to lead with, well, I don't have a split. You know, my market center is paying me to be an agent there. And for those of you that think that profit share isn't something you can get into now, you can, and more so now than ever. I feel like we have great opportunity with this shift in the market and with what's going on, because so many agents are struggling. They need support. They need models and systems. So you've got more of an opportunity than ever to talk about the values of Keller Williams. So a lot of agents will say, well, I'm not comfortable with recruiting, right? You hear that a lot, right? They talk about recruiting. You're not recruiting. I mean, I think if anything, that's not a good word to use, because you're helping another agent you're sharing with another agent something that is changing your life. And I can honestly say, from that 8 years ago when I came to Keller Williams to the person I am today, the growth and the wealth, not monetarily, but in everything that I have got from this company, is all because of everything that Keller Williams offered me and me seeking it out. Another thing is that you've got to go after what you want. If you see opportunities, you have to ask for them. So if you don't feel comfortable recruiting agents, I always say it's like dating. You're not going to go to someone and say, I want you to come to Keller Williams. You're going to start the first part of dating, which is to get to know them, right? You're going to interact with them, you know, probably social media right now, Zooms, Zoom happy hours. But you're going to post, you know, you're going to promote their brokers tours. You're going to show up at things. You're going to say good job when they have a listing. You want to make sure when you're dating, you're just loving on them and you're showing them that you care about them, right? The first thing in the dating is that you're showing that you like them. And will you be rejected? Of course you are. I mean, some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? I mean, we're always rejected in life. And as realtors, we're always rejected. For agents, you're coming from a place of what's important to you. How can I help you with your business? How is everything today? You know, what's going on? Have you, you know, oh, my business is in the toilet. I don't know what to do. How can we help you by bringing you on some of our coaching calls, giving you some of our access to what we're doing right now with Bold Pivot? We have so many resources and we are here to help agents. We want to help them grow. In times like this is when most people can make a great amount of wealth, and in real estate, even more so at the right company, right? Surrounded by the right people. So I've taught many classes that teach the agents to feel like they are stakeholders in this company, because that's what we are. We are owners in this company. Every dollar we bring in is shared with our owners and our profit share pool. So that whole myth about an agent coming in and you're taking some of their money. That is not it. I say the analogy locally because I used to work for a broker who was, you know, it's a family. So the broker, when they had their end of the year, let's say profits, they knew what they would put in their pocket and what they would reinvest back into the company. But the agents didn't share in that, right? We were bringing in all the commissions and we were getting paid, splitting it with our brokerage. The difference is with Keller Williams is every month we are going to profit share and we are going to take our expenses from our income, and then what's left over is going to get shared. And if you're in the profit share pool, you're going to get the benefit of that. And why wouldn't you want to be in the profit share pool? That just requires you having just one person in your downline. And I'm also going to tell you, it's not only for agents, it's for admins. My admin, Catherine, who is an absolutely terrific resource for our team, she's got a profit share line and she's making, you know, sometimes she tells me I made $300 or $400 this month on just one person. Just one person. It only takes one. So the number one income producing activity that Keller Williams agents should be doing is to attract other agents to Keller Williams. Our brokerage is made up of entrepreneurs. We're business owners. We're taught to run a business. And KW is the company for people that want a real estate career. So Linda McKissick, as you well know, is the number one profit share owner in our company. And she says it very, very well. She says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And then she talks about profit share and says, it's extremely difficult for us to teach. Oh, let me read this because I'm going to get it wrong. She says, when you're looking at it from the outside, when you're teaching it from the inside looking out, it's very difficult also to explain from the outside looking in. So we have to be very careful that what we're saying is not going to turn somebody else off. In other words, just barfing up all about profit share is not going to get you your desired result. It's much easier to get into the relationship, to start loving on the person, and then asking them really good questions. So here's a slide that shows you your first level, your second level. I think everybody probably understands that. And here's the slide about my numbers. So I'm going a little bit fast. Can anybody read that? Because I can't read it because unfortunately all your faces are over it. So somebody, if you can read that slide, I'd love somebody to read it and get a little more interaction. Drew, can you read it?
I can read it.
Yay.
So we created a program that would treat our real estate sales associates like legitimate partners in the business. We created a program that allows associates to build a business inside a real estate company that is as powerful and as if they own the company themselves. Gary Keller.
And that's being a stakeholder in our business. And be proud that you are a stakeholder in our business. Because most companies do not have stakeholders in their business. They have shareholders, and they're usually the people that are not actively participating in the business. So your own story is important. You know, you can quote my story and anybody else's, Linda McKissick's story, but at the end of the day, your story is very important. And if you don't have a good one, I always say then use somebody else's. You know, if you want to talk about somebody you know that is a capper in the market center and is making a substantial amount of profit share such that they don't have a split with the market center, then use that person as your story. But remember, people are going to identify with different things. We talked about the culture, the training, the technology. And I think the easiest way with profit share is if you're showing just how passionate you are about that $200, $300 check, or the fact that your profit share doubled from one year to the next, or that you're surrounded by people that are offering you so much in training and in camaraderie and in mentorship, such that you're growing your business. So you started as a single agent and now you're growing a team. That in itself is what's going to resonate and light up other people that also want to treat their real estate career as a business. And I always say, like the dating, if you be it, so if you're acting like you're excited, you love it, it's working for you, you want to share the opportunity because you want to share what's working. People love when something's going really well, naturally, even if you're not selling it. Let's just say you found a really good shampoo. If it's really working well for your hair, you're going to tell people about it, right? So when you love what you love about Keller Williams and the profit share model, share it, because people are very attracted to you and how you make them feel. They're not going to necessarily hear a lot about what you're saying. So get into that relationship. And then the key part of it is you got to have your team leader do the heavy lifting, because we have team leaders there for a reason. They're trained. They script practice. They are doing recruiting appointments. They are, they're on leadership calls. They are with each other talking about everything that they need to know about talking to your clients and getting them into their pipeline so that they can support you with your new recruit. So don't forget, that is absolutely the most important thing. Don't barf up too much. Get into the relationship, ask good questions, and then hand them over to your team leader. Now, the second thing that I'm absolutely majorly passionate about, and I hope these two things are not going to take up all my time, is investing. So I don't know how many of you here are investors in real estate. You can raise your hand, I guess, if you are. But why do we invest in real estate? Why real estate? Well, I think today more than ever, we can see why, right? We can see that the stock market crashes or it goes up and down. There's so much uncertainty right now with what's happened with COVID. And the real estate market, I'm sure it's the same for you as it is here in Cleveland. It's rallying, right? Rallying. When we put our money in bricks and mortar, we can afford to go through the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of the economic changes, of the market changes. So why do we invest in real estate, and why are we very good? Why do we learn how to talk to investors about investing? Because in my opinion, every client I know and every realtor I know is a potential investor, because you're investing in your future, sometimes your kids' future. Sometimes you buy a place and then you send your kids to college 16, 18 years later because of the passive income that you've been receiving, and the fact that then the house is paid off and worth the amount, hopefully, to send them to college. So it makes you more money in retirement. We know that. The more money that you hold on to in real estate, and then as you're investing and you're getting a positive cash flow, that's obviously more money that you're going to have when you come upon retirement age. Investing in real estate also grows your net worth. At the end of the day, when you have more streams of income, you're growing your net worth, which is helping you with your financial goals, your financial plan. The interesting thing is, when you're an investor, you've got so much credibility with your investor clients, because there are often times when investors are saying, I want an agent that's an investor. So even if you've just done one investment and you've learned how to do it and you've learned to speak the language, that credibility with your investor clients is only gonna turn into more investor clients, right? Because as those clients liked working with you, they reach their financial dreams or goals, then the next client is going to know that you're a investor-friendly agent. And it makes you the expert. Once you start rattling off everything about investor terminology, and we're going over that on the next slide, it's really simple, because then you understand it and you speak the language, and it's really not difficult. And then it's almost like if there's this many agents, there's only this many that want to speak the investor language or are really passionate about it or even want to bother with it. Because I think sometimes we think investors, oh, that's cheap, as in they're trying to buy cheap properties. No. This is the market of the moment. If you guys lived through the other recession, which was 10 years ago, if you were a realtor there, the country was swept with an economic crisis. And, you remember driving down the roads, all the for sale signs, thinking, oh my gosh, is this ever going to recover? Well, it did. And guess what? Massive wealth is built when there's a downturn in the market. So these investors, they're coming out already because they know there's been a shift in the market, and now they're looking to seize the opportunity and create massive wealth. And you should be thinking that too. So first of all, we're so lucky we can invest in what you know. Guess what? We all know real estate. We're so lucky because there are so many people that want to invest in real estate, but they don't understand real estate. They don't know all the ins and outs. And you as an agent, you get it. You understand closings, you understand offers, pricing, CMAs. So you've already got that advantage. And then you need to really understand the basics, okay? So the basics are the kind of the language of real estate. And if you just get these down, and I'll send these slides, by the way, afterwards, Drew. But if you just get these down, you've got it made. Okay, so ROI. So what is ROI? Return on investment, right? It's the yearly profit divided by the amount invested. That's really, really easy because a lot of people will say, you know, what's the ROI on this property? You know, is this cash flowing? You know, the cash flowing is the money that you have left over once your expenses are paid. So if I'm a traditional investor. I like buy and holds. That means they are properties that I'm gonna hold, rentals. I'm gonna rent them out. So if I have a rental property that I leveraged, and let's say I took out a loan, I can take out as a single person, unmarried, I can take out up to 10 Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loans. I can use them as investor loans. So usually putting down 20, 25%. So let's say, I'm just going to give you an example because I'm buying a house this week. There's a house that I want to purchase that's $150,000. So I'll be putting down 25% of that. So if I'm putting, well, let's just use let's use this one. So it's 200,000. So if I'm putting down 50,000 on my 200,000, and then that asset appreciates to 250,000, and it cash flows, my return on investment, meaning the 50,000 I put down, is that I've doubled my investment, right? Because it's now worth 250. So I've got 50,000 down, and now it's worth 250. So I've made another 50,000. But if I'm leveraging other people's money, so let's say in this, because that's if I was to pay cash. Let's say if I put 25% down, and so the 50,000 now becomes another 50,000. I've doubled that investment at 100%. If I'm talking cap rates, and I'll explain cap rates a little bit later, cap rates can actually be more when you are using other people's money. So let's say, for example, back to that $150,000 house, if I'm putting 25% down on 150,000, which is 30,000, right? Let's just say 30,000. And then I'm cash flowing. So that's probably going to rent for about $2,000. And let's say my mortgage payment is on 150, I would say about $500 a month. Then you have to add in your taxes. So your taxes in our area is quite expensive. So let's say that's another $500 a month. Then your utilities. Well, if you have a renter that's paying their own utilities, then that's on them, right? So I'm still cash flowing about $1,000 a month. And then obviously there's property management. If you're not able to do property management yourself, you're gonna have to pay somebody to do it. And so that will kind of go into the equation. Maybe I should do the equation so that you guys can follow along with what I'm saying. And then you have vacancy on whether or not the property is gonna be vacant. But if I'm making $1,000 a month cash flowing, and I told you we've got 12 months, so a year, so 12 times $1,000 a month is $12,000 that I'm positively cash flowing a year. If I divide that by the price of the house, so I'm going to do this quickly on my phone. So I had $12,000 a year that I'm positively cash flowing, divided by the price of the house, which is $150,000. My cap rate is 8%. Now, cap rates are what investors want to know. And it's really good if you can quickly do that in your head. So you take the amount of the rent, you minus out the expenses, and then the yearly amount you divide by the price of the house. So investors will come into Cleveland going, we want cap rates of anything over 5%. And guess what? In Cleveland, you're going to find them. There'll be double-digit cap rates. Some of them will be 10%. If you go with a two-family, which is two sets of renters, you know, up and down or side by side, you can make really good rents. I have a two-family. It was my first purchase that I bought for $140, and my tenant on the bottom pays $925. My tenant on the top pays $1,250. So when you add that together, that's about $2,150. The mortgage payment for me on that house is $800 a month. So that's a really great cap rate. Now, granted, I pay the water sewer because when you're in a two-family, they're connected, so I have to pay the bill for both my tenants. But when you can understand how to do the cap rates, your investors will understand that you know what to look for. And I don't know in your area, do you have great cap rates? Like, are your cap rates anything like ours are? Anybody can scream out.
Well, everything we've seen, we're definitely in double digits. So 10, 11, 6 to 7. So, I mean, the investment, but definitely on the lower price point houses, what we're seeing.
Right. And then, you know, also getting renters and understanding that having a really good renter, maybe sometimes at a little lower rent, or having a long-term renter is a really good way to go. You know, what you want is just to set it and forget it. The buy and holds are not that you're in any way, apart from unless you're property managing, you really don't want to be too involved with it, because that's passive income at its finest. It's just coming in every month. Your NOI is your net operating income. So it's the profit you're left with once all your operational expenses are subtracted from your income. So if I have one property cash flowing 1,200 and I have another one cash flowing 1,000, the NOI, the net operating income, if I can use that to go qualify to buy another purchase, lenders are going to be falling all over me. In other words, they're not worried about any of my other assets, like my house or my business. They're looking at my net operating income, and they're going to want to lend more money. And like I said, with the interest rates being so low, now is the opportunity to go and ask lenders. And I've even seen some lenders doing less than 25% down. So maybe in your area too, there might be lenders that do less for investors. But investing and buy and holds are absolutely amazing. Now, the 1% rule, investors will say to you, well, you know, what about the 1% rule? Are you getting the rent for the 1% rule? So the 1% rule is real easy. For a house that's 100,000, are you getting rents of about 1,000? For a house that's 200,000, are you getting rents that are about 2,000? So I'm always able to say, well, in Cleveland, the 1%, we blow the 1% rule out of the water, because I can buy a house for 100,000. I could buy a double, maybe not in a or B area, maybe in a C area. So maybe not right around the hospitals or by the clinic, but still, you know, still an area where we can rent to some nice, blue collar workers, people that are, Lincoln Electric is a big employer of ours. They have houses and they have a plant in Euclid. Euclid is a kind of somewhat depressed area. But you can get great two families. Yeah, you can get a two family, and yes, you could put two people in, you know, up and down, and the rents would probably be anything from $700 to $800 each unit. So, you know, does it do better than the 1% rule? Yes. The two families that are closer to the hospitals and the clinic, wow. I mean, I told you $2,150, and I paid $140,000 for it. You know, it makes sense. So as long as you understand cash flow, the money you have left over from the rent, some investors will say to you, I just want to cash flow $500. So now you have to understand how to do it in your head. You know, how much is it going to rent for? What are the expenses going to be? The taxes, the property management, the vacancy, any utilities, and then what's the cash flow on it? Because a lot of investors are going to use Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or hard money lenders. They're going to use money. Not all of them are cash investors. So hopefully you understood a little bit more about investing. And does anybody have any questions over that? Those are buy and holds.
Is there
Sorry.
any, I know there's different apps or spreadsheets that kind of do some of that calculations. Have you ever used that, or you've just learned in your head to do them?
I just do it in my head. I mean, if, it's so easy. If somebody is saying to me, the house is 140,000, what kind of cap rate is that? So then I'll look at the house and say, okay, well, based upon the rental CMA, the house will rent for $1,500 a month, 15 to 1,700. Okay, so 1,500 a month times 12, that's the gross rents. And then minus out the taxes, minus out the property management if you're not property managing, minus out the vacancy rate, which is always 10%. But, I would argue that in some areas you're not going to have any vacancy rate, but put it in just to be safe. And then whatever you're left with, whatever that yearly net income is, not gross, net, because you took out the expenses, divide it by the price of the house. Gotcha. And that will give you your cap rate.
Hey, Beth has a question. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. So Beth says, do you recommend using a mortgage instead of tying up all your cash on the buy and hold?
Yes, definitely use a mortgage. See, that's why, wasn't it important about the base of your stool? When you have a real estate business, that you can apply for a mortgage and qualify because you have your tax returns and you're showing a profit, then it's so good right now to use rates and use lenders, because the rates are so low and investors are going to be all over these things. Now, in a very competitive market, if investors have cash, you may not get the right place. In other words, they may
have a lot of multiple offers with cash right now. That's for sure.
So don't look for those ones. Don't look for the turnkey. Look for ones that you can put a little elbow grease in, or ones that have been sitting on the market, but you can see that there's a good cap rate for them. Look around universities, medical places, hospitals. Those are usually the ones. I don't go for the dogs. I'll be honest with you. If there's one falling apart and investors are tripping all over, I'm not interested in that one. Because for me, I've stayed away from flips. And that's just because I'm fear of the unknown. I'd rather go with something that's really good, sound, might be ugly, might not be the best location or have the biggest yard or something, but something that cosmetically I can do something to make it appealing, and I don't have to put a lot of money into it. I've never put more than $5,000 into any of my buy and holds, and I have 13 doors now. Okay. Oh, this is where I was going to do a little kind of penmanship on showing you how to do the cap rates. But unless somebody wants me to do it in person, I'll move on. Okay, Airbnb. So my first little house that I bought was an Airbnb. It was a doll's house. It was miniature. It was like a little miniature 2-bedroom, 1 bath. And I thought, wow, this one could be a really good Airbnb. Why? Because it's a whole house. So right now, Airbnb is a little touchy. I know as an Airbnb host, because a lot of people got canceled out. You got to be careful, because the whole house hacking, and house hacking is renting out a part of your property for Airbnb, that might not be so popular right now with COVID. So the Airbnb for actual properties, meaning not just a part of the house, it could be a part of an up and down or a side by side, but an actual house itself is probably the better way to go. And then, it's a fully furnished Airbnb. You want to make sure that you have it close to something that's bringing people in, sports parks, universities, hospitals, whatever it is. And know your city regulations. At the end of the day, the cities are changing things all the time. I understand both sides to this, and, hotels feeling like they got pushed out, but I've also understood that it's been a great source of income for a lot of people, homeowners, struggling sometimes, and investors like ourselves that say, this is the way to go with this property. It just makes sense. Airbnb is pretty easy. People say to me all the time, how do you do it? And I say you need your core 4. And your core 4 are you, the lender, again, use other people's money. My Airbnb, I bought it for $89,000. It was fully renovated. It was like 800 square feet, cute little front porch. I can Airbnb that for $85 a night. I mean, for the monthly fees, it's over $2,200. So, and I'm constantly booked, always booked. Why? Because I made sure my Airbnb is near the hospital. So most of the people that come in are going down to have procedures done at the hospital, the Cleveland Clinic, University hospitals. The other thing is it's near the arts. So downtown Cleveland, Playhouse Square. I had a lot of actors and actresses come through, and a lot of people doing plastic surgery. There's a plastic surgery clinic 10 minutes away. So those were my three types of people. But then I had the, people coming in for ball games and people traveling from Australia, traveling around the world. I mean, I got to meet so many people. That has been my best investment. So your lender, obviously, you need to know your lender and have a good lender so that he can help you with your different investments. The cleaner, if you have a good cleaner, you just got to turn that thing over in 4 hours. 4 hours is the minimum. Some people make it a day, but if you have a system with a cleaner, pay that person to come in, wash the sheets, change the beds, clean it up. And then I can't see what the last one is, but I think it's the property manager. So I'm my own property manager. Again, lucky me that I'm able to manage my own property. And we'll talk about property management in a minute. It may be completely different for you. So once you know the city regulations, don't do something wrong. I found out very quickly that my city regulations were a week or more. So I can't rent for under 7 days. So the way I put it on Airbnb, because it's an app on Airbnb, it's simple as can be, is I make sure that my listings are 7 days or more. And people will rent. The last person that just moved out on last Sunday was there for 2.5 months. I've had people there for 6 months. But it's a great way for you to teach people how to make more money on their investment properties. And if you have one yourself, you'll get clients from it. The people that just moved out, they just bought a nice house with us. And we've met so many people. And for you, it's also a value add. What about when your clients have a week off and they're like, I need a place to stay. Hey, you've got something you can offer them. So again, you're in that investor market, you're speaking about it, and people know that you know what you're doing. Property management. So I have no idea about your rules, but my rules are I can't do property management. I can do it on my own property. You can't either? Right. So, and that's a broker. It depends on the broker. I came from another brokerage where we could do it. I'll be honest with you. I think there's a great opportunity in property management. Like I started my own property management for my own properties and I leverage people. Like I've hired people. I've made another little, if you want to call it a passive income, because I'm hiring people to do the property management and I'm making the money. But there's definitely things that you can do when you add other services. And property management is one that in Cleveland is very, very bad. Like there's very few good property managers and they do charge 8 to 10%. So I would say if property management is ever something that's up your alley, be very careful because it can be very time consuming. But we've had brokerages that have themselves bought property management companies. And I think at some point our own brokerage, because I'm a new owner in the brokerage that I just came into, I think we probably will allow it and we probably will have an arm of property management. It's not all rainbows and unicorns, that's for sure, when renters have issues in the middle of the night or fights are breaking out. But again, that's just something to think about. It's another arm that once you have such a great business, investors want to know you, they're calling you, there's something else that you can leverage. Okay, I don't know where I am on time. Oh, Relco. Relco is a moving concierge company that you can download an app on your phone and you can send your clients to the app, Relco, and they will give your clients different bids on their move. They'll do a virtual, they'll, go through the house, they'll figure out what it is and where that person's moving, and then they give a free quote with different moving companies. You look great because you gave your client another value add. There's no cost to your client, and they don't have to, use the company. The nice thing is, though, they get everything mapped out. And then if they do pick to go with one of the moves, they know who the mover is going to be. They know when he's going to arrive. Again, it's like this concierge that makes you look good. And the passive income part of it is that when you sign up to be an agent that is part of Relco, meaning that you're sharing the app. So you log on, share the app, share the app with your clients. I take flyers into every one of my listing appointments, every one of my buyer appointments. And when they do book a move with Relco, they send you a check. So there's passive income with it. I mean, it's not going to put you in, drinking Mai Tais in a couple of years on the beach. You're not going to go into retirement that quick with Relco. But again, it adds to your, the legs of your stool. Let's talk about the market today. When you don't have listings, you kind of feel like you're out of business, right? You're like, because this is the market where everybody wants listings. So when you have these passive incomes, it makes it feel a little bit better as you're regrouping and doing a new 30, 60, 90, because the market has shifted and changed. Staging. So we started a staging arm to our team because at the end of the day, I worked out, I gave $120,000 in staging to a staging company. And I thought, well, why not just bring it in-house and do it ourselves? So what did I do? I found the who, leverage. At the end of the day, none of this can be done unless you have good leverage and you find the right people. I'm not a stager. I would probably shoot myself if I went in and staged houses every day. I have no concept. So I found a who. I recruited her in. She came in from another brokerage, and we basically started a little staging business. We made a little LLC. We rented a storage unit. We started with a bit of furniture, and we've been investing in more furniture. So we are now about, I would say, 1.5 years into our staging company. We have probably staged over 40% of our own listings. We offer great staging discounts to our own listings that use us. We're very competitive. Again, we use the employees on the team. So my concierge will also help with staging. The people that I hire for property management, and guys, these are my children. So I'm leveraging my kids. These are my grown adult children that are helping me do these things. And they're on payroll. So good for me, good for them. And then we're, doing the stager. The other thing about it is I can still go in and say, well, let's have the stager come in and take a look and see what she says. And then she does all the heavy lifting. She tells them what the price is. She tells them you can't have that ugly couch and you've got to have hours. And, so again, it's like I'm using a resource and it's a part of my value add. A couple of people have said to me, do you need to do a disclosure, an ABA? Staging is not part of the transaction. So, and maybe it's different in Virginia, so I don't want to quote, but in Ohio, it's not part of the transaction. So, I mean, I tell them readily that I have a staging company and a stager on staff, but there's no ABA that I have to get signed. Any questions about that? Okay. BRRRR method. I talked a little bit about this. This is when you're looking for this is when you're saying, I've got some cash and I want to go in and I want to become an investor. And I have a lot of people that call into Cleveland and will say, I want to do this. I see your properties, they're 30, 40,000. And I'm like, oh my God, those are the ones in the terrible areas, but let's go ahead and see. And then if they find something that they want, that let's say they can do a Section 8 rental or they can do a lower income rental and it's in a good area, the BRRRR method works amazingly. There's one agent here in my market who, single mom, no money, started with something like a $40,000 purchase. So she had $40,000, right? She bought a little house and she rehabbed it. So let's say that the purchase was $40,000, the rehab was, let's say, $20,000. And then she put a renter in, and let's say the renter paid her $1,200 a month. Now she's got an asset that she fully owns. Remember, she didn't leverage it. She paid her first $40,000 and then put in the $20,000 to rehab it. And now she's renting it. So now that asset has net operating income, right? So she is able to refinance it So basically, she's able to take the money out of it. So she puts the mortgage on, she takes the money out of it, and then she repeats with that money. And that is the BRRRR method. It is simple, but very complicated. And the reason that the complicated part is the rehab part. That's a little bit more unknown. So when we're talking about passive income, I would argue that this isn't as passive, but it's a great way to get started in the investment area when you have a certain amount, a small amount of cash that you want to put into a house and make it your first, and then rinse, repeat. Go to the second, rinse, repeat. And the more that you keep doing this and leveraging, then you can get into very big opportunities, multifamilies, apartment buildings. That girl I talked about is now literally, she talks BRRRR across the country to everyone, and she owns several apartment buildings, all from that $40,000 first investment, which wasn't a long time ago. I brought her to Keller Williams if I came in 2012, I think she came within the next couple of years. And she was an investor. She was working with an investor. The investor was running her ragged, doing all sorts of BPOs, and she was really good at them. And I said to her, you're doing a really good job. Why don't you do it yourself? Why don't you become an agent yourself? You can do all this. You've got the knowledge. She had the brains. Come and be an agent. She got licensed and she came to Keller Williams. She's now running a property management company too. She owns half of it. That's how incredible this company is. Agent referrals. So I always say there's such an opportunity for passive money when you're doing an agent referral. And that's just, the listing presentation where you're asking your client where they're moving to. So when they're moving somewhere, you want to get right on the horn and find out. So they're saying, well, I want to move to San Francisco, but I want to be in Marin County in a certain school area. Great. Now go over to Kelly, go to Command, go to Facebook, whatever way, go find the agent that's best, interview them, even interview one or two guys. Doesn't have to be one, because what if the person doesn't select that one? So interview the agents, put an agent referral together. 25% is about the average. Beth and I know, we've done one. And then they will give you 25% of the listing or the buy commission. And you just get a check that comes to your brokerage. So about 10% of my business was agent referrals last year. And we sold $33 million last year. 10% of our business. It's creeping up this year because I've intentionally told my team I want to increase it to 20% by the end of the year. So we're doing very much more purposeful things to stay in touch with agents. During COVID, making calls, networking with them. You've met the agents, you want to love on them. You want to meet them at family reunion, mega camp. You want to watch them. You want to get into relationships with them. It's just the same as profit share. You want to make sure that they enjoy you and what you offer, and you have to help them too. So help them find agent referrals. I have plenty of people in my office that say to me, who do you know? Because they think I'll know someone, because I probably do, because I've done referrals and I've networked with so many agents. So never forget to get into the habit of asking your clients if they need help, and your friends. I'm an agent here in Cleveland, Ohio, but I can connect you to agents all around the country that are the best agents. Ask me, well, who do you need? Where are you moving? And title company ABAs, we have that. I don't know if you do. Yes? I've made so much money on title company ABAs. I never knew about this before I came to Keller Williams. Unbelievable. I've watched a lot of friends of mine ask title companies about joining. Someone that Beth and I know really well, Glenn Moog out of Columbus. He and I do a lot of referrals because Cleveland and Columbus go back and forth quite a bit. I remember he asked his title company and said, I want to join. I want to be a part of it. I think at that point they weren't doing any of that, but they are now, and Glenn's an owner in the title company. Obviously full disclosure using ABAs, but I've made lots of money on my title companies. And you know what? They're nice to get the checks every quarter, aren't they? As things have been so weird. And then that's why I wanted to know from Mary what her home warranty company is, because my slide here is about America's Preferred. So I'll just quickly talk. So we have a relationship with America's Preferred, and it's all about, honestly, it's about our rep. So Mary, it is always about the rep. I remember there may have been a different product that I liked better, but the relationship with the rep was not making it a win for my clients. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's all about your allied resources. And the home warranty company that we selected is America's Preferred. There is a passive income. You know, every time a warranty is written, our market center gets $50 and we as agents get $50. Again, it's money, isn't it? For something that you would want your client to be associated with because you know it's a great product and you know they're going to get great service. So, you know, that's just another way that agents are making money. So think about things like that. Included also in America's Preferred is we have E&O deductible, which is where you get a certain amount if you have a lawsuit that they pay towards your E&O deductible. So that's also something nice. I actually used it last year. I've never used it before, but had to use it because I made a horrible mistake and I had to pay for something that I'd made a mistake for, but I was able to claim some of the deductible. Okay, so that's a lot of information and I've probably gone way long and done a lot of talking, but think about all the opportunities because there are so many because of your real estate business. So the most important thing is to treat your real estate business as a business, because if you're treating it as a hobby and you're not making the money, and I'm not saying you have to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you have to make sure that the business has a tax return and the business is paying its quarterlies. You know, maybe your business is an S Corp, maybe you're an LLC, but think of it because that's the way that your stool is, your base is created and the opportunities will come from it. You know, another opportunity, going to homes and buying the home yourself. I'm doing that right now because we get first look at homes, right? And if there's a home that somebody, this was a doctor with 6 kids and he said, I'm moving to California in 3 weeks. I don't want to show my house. And I said, so you mean you don't want people coming in? No, I don't want people coming in. I want to sell it as is. I want to be gone. And I want this. I don't even want to move half the stuff. And I'm like, well, hello. For me, I know this is a great buy and hold because it's right by the university. I know I can rent it. And he's got a really low price that he wants to sell it for. Now be careful. I'm very, very like police officer. So I'm like, you know what? You can go on the market. You know, you may get multiple offers. You may get more money. I want to make sure that you're doing what you want to do. And he thought about it. They thought about it for a couple of days and they said, nope, we want to go with you buying the house. Send out cards. You know, I do love my multi-level marketing. Send out cards. You know, I'm always using these cards to send to people and the brownies and, you know, congratulations. There's multi-level marketing, passive income in there. I'd love to hear some of your ideas. So what are some of the ideas for passive income that you guys are leveraging? You're muted.
Unmute you guys. I don't know if anybody wants to chime in. Just hold your space bar down, but I did try to do that. What ideas do you guys, what other passive income or questions that you guys have? Yeah. Amanda, I know you're on a tight schedule, so. That was awesome, by the way.
It's so hard to do it with just me talking to me. It's so.
But you're so smart.
We love it.
Whoever said that, thank you, because that was really much more difficult. I'm such a, you know, I'm the one that likes to throw up my arms and have a lot of laughs. So Beth knows.
I'm looking in the chat. I think we got everything. Mary Garner, that's someone else. Mary Garner DeVoe, she's with Old Republic Home Protection. So I want to make sure, Amanda, you know that.
Are you in Ohio?
No, I'm not, but the company is, yes. Christine Dern is the representative there, and she's great.
So we need to connect you. There we go.
Yeah, I've got your number, Mary, so I'll text you.
Excellent.
And then Beth said when you were talking about the cap rate a little bit, she sees more about 6 to 7 in our area. Let me just make sure.
Yeah, when I have a property that's double digits, I lead with that. I'm like, investors, double digit cap rates. And then, you know, a lot of agents will call me and say, how did you get that? And it's just so easy.
Ann Mitchell's asked, if you don't currently work with investors or in the rental market, what is the best way to study when rents fall? So how do you kind of keep up with the rent rates up and down?
Well, I just do my CMAs. So I will just look, you know, I'll take that property.
Does your MLS have, they put rentals in there? Ours
Yeah,
has that option, but they don't put them in really. So
no.
It's a little tricky. We kind of have to do Zillow, and then of course property management companies. Like I have a separate property management company. We have a software third-party software, so it's not as readily available in our MLS, unfortunately.
And I would also ask other agents in your market center, because the majority, there's so many agents that invest. Like the one that I'm buying, I called an agent from another market center, and she's like, oh yeah, I have one by John Carroll University. I rent to students. I'm like, bingo, that's what I'm buying. And she's like, oh, it's amazing. So she gave me so much insight. She told me, she said, John Carroll, this is the university, they have something that if their students misbehave in a private rental, it will go on their grades or something, so they don't misbehave. So you have the best renters.
I was in Lynchburg. Liberty University has that same concept, so it's.
Do they? Okay, that's a good thing. So you should be looking for the ones around the universities, even though I'm worried.
Mom and dad on them, like, hey, pay your rent.
Yeah.
And then Beth says she does Relco, right? I use Relco regularly. She can help us if we work on that. Deanna, an agent in our office. There's Amanda Hardesty is another agent in a different company. She started a
staging company.
So that you can just see people in our markets are definitely do that.
Good.
Debbie asked what a BPO is, but Beth answered it, broker price opinion.
Which will come up a lot more as the market starts to go down, and they're very expensive. I'm sorry, that you're paid nothing, and they're kind of a lot of work. I mean, when I was working with investors when the market was 2007, 8, 9, I would write 20 offers a day, and I did not do BPOs, and it literally put my poor admin into quit mode. She was like, I can't do this anymore. But there was a lot of opportunity from investors. I made my business through investors because everybody else poo-pooed them. They said, oh, I'm used to sticking a sign in the yard and getting multiple offers. Why would I want to deal with investors? They're your bread and butter. I've had some investors have listed over 65 homes with me.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I love, and we can kind of wrap up, is obviously the stool analogy with the base of the stool, the seat of the stool, is your real estate business needs to be robust. You need to really work hard to build that. So then your legs of those are built through the cash flow or the income that you've created. But one thing I think is maybe unique is profit share doesn't require cash flow, right? So all the other passive income options, a lot of them when you shared, you kind of have to put your money in it, flip and holds and all the other ones versus like profit share. If it costs you $0 and you're quote, not using the R word, you're just referring it to the team leader, right? So you're just building a relationship. So I love that you started with that one.
And it's the best one. I mean, at the end of the day, that is the best opportunity here at Keller Williams. It's hands down the best one. Yep. There is no reason why anybody that's thinking about building a business in real estate that they're not thinking about the Keller Williams model. It's absolutely the most incredible model. And it makes me laugh when people talk splits. It's like, what split? You can, and if you love what you do so much and you love your company, everybody feels it when you're talking about it. So when people say to me, how did you get 18 or 20 people in your first couple of years? I'm like, everybody was like, you're so happy. You're doing so well. What is it? It's Keller Williams. You need to come. Like, really? And now more than ever, So much opportunity because a lot of agents, I mean, we're surrounded by Keller Williams agents, so we're kind of cocooned, aren't we? We're like, oh, everybody's doing so well and listening to Bold and, you know, everybody's thinking outside the box and mind share of
Everybody gets to talk with Gary Keller, right?
Right, everybody talks with Gary, but really, truly, it's like we're cocooned. The rest of the real estate career doesn't know when their next paycheck is terrified they can't get listings, doesn't know what's going to happen with their brokerage. There isn't any, you know, direct sense of camaraderie with training and sharing, and that's what Keller Williams is all about. Like, people will say to me, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I'm like, here, just take it, share it, do it, use it. Everybody at Keller Williams is all about, if I succeed, if you succeed, we succeed. I succeed through you. It's all about us, not me.
Another thing that is, you are very active in participating in Keller Williams, what Keller Williams offers. So yes, you're at your local Ohio market center, but you're also very involved in family reunion and mega camp, because that's where I met you. And you're not always hanging, you know, like when I met you at family reunion, you weren't hanging out with your Ohio people. Like, you know them already. So you're like, see ya. And you were networking with Beth Pretty, and you were networking with me. And so I learned that from you, is like, the reason why you're with a company, not a small little mom and pop shop, is because of the networking opportunity. So number one, you have to show up to a family reunion, pay for it, go. And then when you go to family reunion, it is, yes, we're bonding a little bit together, but go hang out with somebody that's not in Richmond, Virginia or Midlothian. And I think you model that well. So thank you for inspiring me to do that, because I think you do a great job with that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I agree. And the path to getting more out of your life with Keller Williams is unlimited, as you well know. I mean, when I literally 2 years into Keller Williams, I was like, how do I become an owner? And my broker's like, oh, Amanda, you have to recruit, you have to train, you have to do, you know, train Ignite. He was like, there's so many things. And I was like, okay. And I went and did it. Like, that's the path. And then I got the investment opportunity to open not a mega agent office, a business center. And that was my first investment, that I became a business center owner. I brought in, you had to bring in a certain amount of recruits. I did it. And then we opened a business center and I made money there. You know, then I became a market center owner. Like, there's other things. And now I want to be a KWU master faculty, and I want to do something with the region. I mean,
you just built this amazing Facebook page also. I don't know if you want to plug your Facebook page. That'd be good.
Yes, come on to Realtors Winning While Social Distancing is to bring together content that we can use today from people all around. And it's for all realtors from all companies. And we have laughs, but we also are very serious about showcasing the real agents, not just the I'm so amazing and you see me all the time and I can never be like you, but the real people. And we started off that with, you know, as soon as COVID hit, well, how do I Zoom? How do I look good on Zoom? How do I create canvas and backgrounds? How do I, you know, it was like basics we've got a really amazing special guest tomorrow. Oh my goodness. The best yet, the famous Drew Damari is going to be showcased at 10:30 tomorrow, because you seriously are one of the best top coaches in the country. And your market center is so lucky to have you. We don't have one.
That was not a self plug. That was supposed to be a plug for you. Say that Facebook page again. Say it again.
Realtors Winning While Social Distancing.
Yeah.
Beth can invite you all. She's in there.
I'm working on it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. And it's going to soon be called Realtors Winning. And
we'll take it already is.
Pardon?
The name's been changed to Realtors Winning.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're moving it along because, you know, it's done its thing and now it's moving forward. And guess what? It's a recruiting tool.
It is.
Don't you think that those local realtors are watching everything that I'm sharing with them? I'm saying, oh, come to this. Oh, tune into this. Look at this first. They are noticing. It's a very passive way of recruiting too.
It's
and we have a
relationship builder, like you said.
It is. And it's
You're
showing
dating
what
them.
Williams offers.
You're dating them through COVID. So.
And our team leader just started on Monday, our new one. And we're like, here's this for you. Here's this for you. Like, we're setting her up so she can be successful.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. What's the best way for them to reach out to you if you have, if they have additional questions? Some people prefer just email or
Email,
what's the best way.
email, call me, text me. Beth can probably share all my contact info in your group.
Perfect.
I love referrals. I love investing.
We're going to help you get to that 20% referral mark. That's what we're going to do. We're going to help you.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I'm just very, very happy that you even thought that this content was going to be useful. And I hope at least one or, some of it is to every one of you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And especially Mary, thank you.
Yes. You made
Thank
this happen.
y'all.
Also, well, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you so much, Amanda, Beth, Mary, Gunnar,
Thank you, Amanda.
Bill. Like it takes a
Bye.
village.
Thanks all.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody. Thank you guys so much.
Take care.
Have a great rest of your
Bye-bye.
day. Bye, everybody.